Hello. We are looking at the 6 reactors of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. This is on the Dnipro River, of course, which was had all its water forcefully evacuated whenever the dam was destroyed. And they're still struggling with keeping cooling and water regarding this nuclear power plant. And before we get into anything else, know that these are probably Russian aerial vehicles, unmanned aerial vehicles. Russia has a long history of false flag attacks on. Just happen to have a HD camera ready to go and ready to set up live at the spot. A very usual propaganda. But this is where we're looking at. This is where the focus is regarding these drone strikes in this area. We'll get into those. The one thing I have to say that's been making the rounds lately is claims of Ukraine running out of Patriot, IRST, and PAC-3 air defense missiles. It is every day. Every day a cruise missile is striking Ukraine every day. Is there any other country in the world where there are being completely dismantled and destroyed volleys of rockets, missiles every day, all night, in the morning? There's no safe place because these missiles can hit any target within Ukraine. If they have no Patriot missiles left, this is a red alarm. This is a major emergency, because if we go back to Ukraine with the air defense they had before any of the upgrades that they're currently out of missiles, and their allies have dozens of unused Patriot missile battery systems, but nobody is donating, nobody is giving Ukraine this technology. It's just most of other stocks of air defense means are depleted or destroyed. This while we have hundreds of systems or thousands of missiles in our depots. No words, just anger. Be it the Speaker of the House Republicans, be it them wanting to put their own bill forward for Ukraine, is killing people. People are dying as a result of House Republicans, their inactivity. This blood is on their hands. Ukraine just came out of a counteroffensive that did not go very well. The counteroffensive did not go nearly as well as they would have hoped. Especially they just lack the weaponry. Russia, when Russia fires in every direction. Russia doesn't have a shortage of weapons. Even after 2 years of this invasion, Russia is still able to fight a war in Syria. They're able to fight a war where they please, as earlier in the month there was Tu-95 bombers that caused Japan to scramble into action, just like Russia in their behavior on the border of Poland had NATO in Poland scrambling their aircraft in response to the border crossing of the cruise missile. Like, people always complain so much about migrants. Like, no, a cruise missile coming over your border is far worse of a situation to happen. And this is going to happen more throughout Europe if Ukraine falls. If Ukraine falls, everybody in Ukraine is dead. No one is left alive. They'll continue their barbaric onslaught across Ukraine. This is a systematic elimination. This is genocide. There is no hope that Russia is going to just, okay, well, we try, we're just going to pack up and leave now. There's no Russia saying that what we're doing is wrong. No, Russia had plans to attack Japan. Russia wants the world to be Russian. It's very barbaric and heavy-handed. But even after 450,000 dead Russian soldiers, their army is still 15 to 20% bigger it is now than it was 2 years ago in the original invasion. Not only is the Russian army bigger, they've been training, they have weapons, and they have more of them. It's when Ukraine shells, they have to be very modest with the amount of shells that they have, even though that if they get an order of shells, they still have to get that to the front line, and that's dangerous all in itself. And it increases the risk of the ammunition being destroyed and the people along with it. This is This is Ukraine's defense intelligence. The spokesman for the Defense Intelligence and the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Andrei Yusov. Ukraine's defense intelligence has said that Ukraine was not involved in armed provocations at the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and that Russia often resorts to false flag attacks on the power plant. The aggressor state has once again threatened the security of this nuclear facility, civilians, and environment all across of Europe. Russian attacks, including its false flag operations on the territory of the Ukrainian nuclear power plant, are the criminal and well-known tactic that the occupiers frequently resort to, as is deploying forces and weapons at the ZMPP and rigging certain facilities at the power plant with explosives. Like they were saying, reactor number 4 was rigged with explosives. Would they care to blow up their own men? Probably not. They didn't care to evacuate or protect their soldiers and their men, their civilians, in occupied territory when the Nova Kakhovka dam was destroyed, where 70 people died. Nobody was given advance warning on either side that this was about to happen. So the life of a Russian soldier equivalents to the amount of seeds they have in their pockets. When they die, at least they'll grow flowers in their death spot. Because dying in the woods, nobody's coming to get your body. And the bodies that Ukraine does get, Russia doesn't accept them. Try to send it on train and Russia just hits it with a missile. It's very barbaric. So this is from April 4th, International Atomic Agency. The International Atomic Energy Agency, Director General. This is last week on Thursday, April 4th. This was the first drone attacks on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Okay, so Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant lost a connection to not only that you have to say how much energy infrastructure Russia has been targeting directly with their weapons, civilian and military. They're targeting dams, they're targeting hydroelectric plants, they're targeting thermal plants. The one in Kharkiv was absolutely completely destroyed. There's nothing left of it. It looks like you would expect a series of bombs being dropped on it. and it plunged over 1 million citizens in the darkness. It's a different strategy than Russia trying to create a frigid winter. They're just blowing up the power plants completely. And these power plants are not tiny either. The damage scale is so massive, there is nothing left to salvage or put together. There's nothing to repair. It's completely gone, destroyed, using some of their most lethal means of elimination. The IAEA expert station, the ZNPP, reported that the sole remaining 330 kilovolt line was disconnected at 10:06 a.m. local time, leaving the plant entirely dependent on its sole remaining 750 kilovolt line for off-site power. Before the conflict, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant had 4 750 kilovolt lines and 6 330 kilovolt power lines available. That's from 4 to 1 and 6 to 1. So not only is this operating at a staggering loss, because it's just not efficient when it's workers that are forced to be there, employees that are forced to be conscripted to Russia to be able to continue working in the nuclear power plant is what's happening. Russia isn't exactly running this power plant by themselves. They have the people that they're holding hostage there for the past 2 years running this place too. Not that there isn't hostages everywhere. Russia just shuffles and filters people and see where they fall based on information and strategy to elicit types of responses. They have no means of real intelligence. They just literally strike everywhere. Syria, Ukraine, they strike everywhere. They fire in every direction, and they're not going to run out of ammo. Russia is not going to run out of ammo, and they are not going to run out of bodies. Even after 450,000 dead Russian soldiers. What else did Director General Grossi say? Following reports of military activity, IAEA team on the ground heard numerous reports of outgoing artillery fire as well. Yeah, this has been confirmed for a long time now that not only is the Russian armed forces keeping ammunition, munitions, and vehicles inside the actual power plant itself, but they fire away from it. So they have their artillery that they fire pointed away from the plant. There's been video, there's been plenty of information on it. And what happens is somebody returns fire and not realizing that is the power plant behind this shell. Like, this is too dangerous. The entire world's holding its breath, but nobody is able to do anything because Russia is concentrating and focusing so much. They built so much infrastructure around this plant, and they want to take this power line. They want to take the power that's generated from this power plant and hook it up to a line going back to Russia. And they're not going to be able to do it because it's probably too damaged, especially that there isn't much of it coming out anymore. It's just one line, a 1750 and a 1330 kilovolt line. Now let's see. Essential nuclear safety and security functions. Since August 2022, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has suffered 8 events with a complete loss of off-site power, most recently in December last year. The facility now relies on emergency diesel generators. We can't have diesel generators powering a nuclear power plant. That just seems like catastrophic, because if you start running out of fuel, you got to get fuel. That has to be very nerve-wracking. You have to get it. The subcritical neutron source installation located in the Kharkiv Institute of Physics and Technology was transferred to a deep subcritical state at the start of the conflict, and its radioactivity inventory is low. And all the, all the protesting of nuclear power, protesting the nuclear power plants. Nobody ever said, hey, what if another country invades another nuclear power country and takes all of their workers hostage for 2 years and then starts shutting everything down? They eliminated the river system, the Dnieper River, that would have clean, fresh, cool water to go through power plant. And after a while, the water is not going to be potent. It's not going to be able to go through the machine cleanly. It's going to stick. There's residue. That's when you start getting all sorts of different failures that are just symptoms of a greater problem. And the greater problem is that Russia needs to get out of Ukraine, give up Crimea, and get out of this nuclear power plant. It's a must. For the safety of the world, Russia must get out of this nuclear power plant and leave it the hell alone. They have a history of very, very severe nuclear safety. So them invading, working other people to death while they're watching in horror as they're seeing tanks, trucks, explosives inside a nuclear power plant every day. They can't leave. The ones that do leave, they have to sign a statement. They have to sign a conscription statement. They work in the city Ergodan, across from the power plant. But it's not like you can freely travel between the two. Let's see. At the waterworks facility, the cooling pond, discharge panel. The water supplied from the 11 underground wells is providing enough cooling water for the 6 units in shutdown. It's very important to know that even though that the river system is eliminated, they are still able to access underwater well water to continue continuous amount of cool, clean water. During a visit to the Unit Number 4 reactor building, the team observed the chemical analysis laboratory in the safety systems room. No leaks or traces were seen. Borated water is used as the primary coolant to help maintain nuclear safety functions. Although leaks may occur, this is just one out of several news updates, because this is only from the 4th. So if I'm speeding through it a little bit, it's because we got a few more to go. We go to the next press release from April 7th, 2024. Further, Director General Grossi statement on the situation in Ukraine. Drone strikes hit the site of Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant today in a serious incident that endangered nuclear safety and security. Director General Rafael Marino Grossi, I think I said that right, of the International Atomic Agency and Energy Agency said, since the first time since November 22, first time the plant was targeted to military action, clear violation, 5 basic principles protecting the facility. Yep. Major escalation of nuclear safety. No indications of damage to critical safety, nuclear safety, or security systems at the site. There's no telling what this was, because Russia will lie. Russia will only lie about everything. They'll never admit that these attacks are not Ukraine. Because after the first one went, and they were able to blame it on Ukraine, the second one hits, and this isn't all of the attacks either. Let's see, the experts reported hearing explosions and rifle fire on the site through the day. They could be test firing that drones in the air of their own board. The behavior of the Russians was only from eyewitnesses from the previous power plants that they invaded and just literally soiled the entire area. Let's see. Unit 6 has not been compromised. And this is NPR. This is from April 8th. This is saying a lot of the same things that we were just looking at. But Russia's saying that they have 3 people injured. Suspect. The plant's 6 reactors have been shut down for months, but it still needs power and qualified staff to operate crucial cooling systems and other safety features. Now this is update 221, April 9th, 2024. International Atomic Energy Agency was informed about a further drone attack on Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant today. An indication of major worsening of the nuclear safety and security and situation at the site. Nuclear. Let's see, experts stationed at the plant have verified the impact of several attacks on Sunday, reported hearing bursts of rifle fire followed by a loud explosion. I mean, these could be reconnaissance drones that Ukraine has that are being shot down that hit the reactor, if that is what's happening, but you just don't know. One side of Russia doesn't know what the other side's doing and assumes that the drones that are flying in are Ukrainian and shoot them down. I mean, Russia has recently shot down their own fighter planes. It's not out of the question that they would inadvertently shoot down their own drones that they have seconds to respond to. At least in their mind and their training, they have to fire upon these drones quickly. So if they are reconnaissance drones from Ukraine, or if they're drones that Russia's using for different reasons, different purposes, because again, we don't know. We only know that there's been multiple attacks from drones on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It would be in Ukraine's best interest to not attack a nuclear power plant, and I don't think they would approve such a measure. Now, a calculated false flag attack by Russia on the power plant claiming that it's Ukraine isn't out of the question, because this is what they've done already. They've done this multiple times. It just... You have to prep so much to go against the big lies that Russia tells. It takes a lot of effort. And finally, whenever an envoy is summoned by the country in question, Russia will ignore it. Russia always ignores it. Poland wants to talk to somebody in Russia regarding the missiles that have been skirting their border. They're ignoring it. But if anything happens in Russia, if anyone says anything negative about Russia, Turkey gets called on. You need to meet with your Russian ambassador quickly because you said some disparaging comments about Russia. This is how they operate. It's red tape, red tape, red tape, and it's always over a lie. Everything they do is over a lie. You can't trust anything that is coming out of any pro-Russian news agency completely. None. The propaganda is so insane. I have not seen any indication that Russia has lost a single HIMARS vehicle. But in every update, it seems like Russia destroyed 80 to 90. This is the weirdest lies too, because Ukraine can't be the only one posting such numbers that they destroyed, like 100 aircraft, dozens of ships and submarine without having a navy. Apologize, a little on a tangent. Although outside the site perimeter. How far outside the site perimeter? You don't need the Director General Grossi to go to the United Nations Security Council to tell them, hey, somebody is attacking a nuclear power plant and they need to stop. Is that going to be the next step here? Is going back to the Security Council to tell them, hey, look, we know that we told you before that Russia's keeping a lot of bombs stored in a nuclear power plant. Here's video and pictures proving it. And oh yeah, they're holding all of the workers at the power plant hostage for the past 2 years. You know what it's like to be captured and kept by Russians, kidnapped or taken, surrendered to. They have not treated anyone well. They will not treat anyone well. You have to worry about the workers' mental state. They have a very determination to continue for the betterment of everybody, because if they don't, there could be critical failures in the power plant. They must stay aboard. And if they don't, they probably will get shot. Russia doesn't seem to care about any consequence. They're just everywhere. They don't stop. They're not going to leave this power plant. They have machine guns mounted on top of the reactors. Like, who are they shooting at? Do they think they're going to be shooting at from on top of a nuclear reactor? You're not going to shoot back at them because it's machine guns mounted on top of I believe it was number 4. This is insanity. Reflecting the recent days' severe turn for the worse at the site. Oh, there it is. Yeah, brief to the United Nations Security Council about the situation next week. We're going to wait a whole week to be able to get together to talk about the attacks that have been happening last week. And after, it's going to be all over again. They're going to check, they're going to check, they're going to check. Russia's going to let them in the areas that they let them in. But again, it's always seeming that the IAEA is always objective. But, like, they never come out and say directly that Russia needs to stop all this. Like, no, Russia, don't play rough near a nuclear power plant. You get a slap on the wrist. But with the nuclear power plants in Russia, how, with the sanctions on Russia, hurt them in the long run for repairing and maintaining their own nuclear power plants. They're at a what's the end game here? besides just more power, a little more power, more electricity. And they want to redirect all of it from Ukraine to Russia. Let's see. And this is update 222 from April 11th yesterday. Director Rafael Moreno Grossi today called for maximum military restraint and full observance of the 5 concrete principles for protecting Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Days after a series of drone attacks had significantly increased the risk of nuclear accident at the site. Okay, so Monday, they said next week, but next business day. Okay, Monday. So wait until Monday. But even then, you're not going to be able to tell Russia to stop. And Ukraine's going to, of course, say they have nothing to do with it, no involvement. They don't want to risk a nuclear catastrophe. I don't think they would be dropping drones onto the facilities. Only Russia has done that. Only Russia has attacked nuclear power facilities and power plants over the last 2 years. Who would... somebody that isn't already prejudiced against Ukrainians for a variety of reasons to accept Russia's lies about further prying. Even if you pry, Russia's just going to ignore, they're going to lie, and they're going to continue what they want to do. And without further support from the United States and other countries, especially when it comes to air defense and budget, if Ukraine falls, Poland's right there. Belarus can be a huge game changer after they turn on their wartime status. Now, there is a significant portion that Russia extends deeper into Europe because of Belarus. And that should be concerning to everyone. These dictators that stick together, that don't talk to anyone else, don't respond to anyone else, but their economy and their countries are massive. It's unsustainable. Their people are the ones that suffer the most. Let's see, although the strikes, as well as others reported by the plant, both before and after Sunday's events, did not cause damage, compromising nuclear safety and security. But it's a major escalation is how they're putting it. However, they were not granted access to parts of the turbine hull of Unit 2 when they went to the reactor, nor to some of the parts of the waste facility which they were not able to verify its current status. They're not providing them access to where they need to go because they could be damaged that they're not able to fix, and they're not reporting it. Happened before. Separately, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant informed the IAEA experts that it intends to start transitioning Unit 4 to cold shutdown from tomorrow morning after the nearby town of Enerhodar, where most plant staff live, officially ended the winter heating season. After the plant earlier this year started operating 4 newly installed diesel steam generators to handle such waste. It's liquid waste. Reactor number 4 remained in hot shutdown, primarily to help keep the city where the staff lives warm and their families. The 5 other reactors are in cold shutdown, so all 6 reactors looking like there's going to be cold shutdown. The IAEA experts at the Melnitsky nuclear power plant rotated on April 8th. So they have a lot to say, I imagine. The plant has now access to one of its 4 main 750 kilovolt power lines, as well as the last of its 6 330 kilovolt backup lines. It is very distressing, very concerning. And that's the 6 of them right there in question. These are the 6 nuclear power reactors here. Very large buildings. See, this is number 4 here. And then it's just wasteland. After this dam was destroyed, all the water flowed out at terrifying speeds and power, draining the reservoirs and the river completely. Now it's just this muddy texture now. Still. Right here. That's where they destroyed the Novakakova Dam. Alright, that is all I have for this topic for today. I thank you for watching. Please, if you haven't already, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely and keeps me motivated to continue putting out content like this. Thank you. Take care.